So I pray not for the world, but for those whom thou hast given me. I pray for them, you see, as individuals, each one unique and your treasured child. I could pray for each person in the world, unique and as your treasured child, but they are not to experience being such yet, for they wanted the freedom, and they've got it. You know, so often they are outside of the parents' control, and they're, I don't know, torturing this ladybird. And when the parents realise it, of course, they ideally crash in and say, don't do that, lovey, that's a creature and it's causing pain. We don't do that, sweetheart. Oh, Mummy says we don't do that, it's not kind. Well, she hasn't told me, and I'm not Mummy and I'm having fun. Oh, I don't think that's right. Well, I'm doing it, and I'm free to do it. Yes, but if Mum finds out, she'll be very angry with you. Well, don't tell her. You see, it's problematic. Whereas those that have ears to hear say, oh no, that's hurting the creature. Oh yes, it is, isn't it? Oh goodness, yes. And you stop doing it. Lovely, isn't it? Ideally. So I pray not for the world. I pray for those that have ears to hear, that are God's already, that have these values in their heart. How wonderful. Those that are moving closer and closer to heaven, as opposed to those who are screaming they want a freedom from such, that they may enjoy, as they hope, the delights of what they want in their heart. For they need to find out to the contrary. And that's why they're here, to have this freedom. So I pray not for them, other than, well, yes, I certainly want them to not want this freedom, but they are individuals and they must choose that, not have it imposed on them by me and God insisting they do it. But that won't make them a safe entity in heaven from heaven's point of view, nor from their own. They are here to experience and to learn from what they understand to be their freedom. You're free from the imposition of God in a sense, but you're not free from the consequences of action. You know, actions that bring harm, and you don't want that. Therefore you want to value not doing such actions. But at the minute you don't, you think it might be wonderful to be a dictator and get rid of anyone you find problematic. Well, you can do that here on earth and find out the consequences. People want to kill you, and it's a fearful, ghastly situation you find you're in. In other words, it's a sort of procedure that you don't want in heaven at all. It would be a very stressful environment like earth. This is a wonderful place, you see. It's of good and evil, that you might know the difference and change your values accordingly. Wonderful classroom, not to be turned into heaven, but a school in which you can go to if you wish to clear up certain things that are keeping you from the fullness of heaven. So it's thought from the near-death people that you choose to come here, and you even choose what sort of circumstance you're going to be in here, so that you might learn certain lessons and come to get rid of some of these fantasies. keep you, bar you from heaven, that make you unsuitable for heaven and heaven unsuitable for you. That's a great shame, because heaven is a place of many of the values that you certainly have. You value life and you want more life, fuller life. But fuller life is peace and harmony, not war and discord and negativity. So you come here to learn this in the very core of your being, that your values are transformed to a consistency, a reliability. You know, I can turn my back and you're still a friend. You come to value this sort of thing. Marvelous, isn't it? Thank you, Heavenly Dad. Do you see, therefore, how devotion to God and devotion to the world are very inconsistent situations to be in? You know, an intense patriotism is at odds with a devotion to God. It's problematic, to say the least. Fortunately, God is, if you like, fortunately, I mean, most fortunately, wonderfully, God is a person in our understanding and can be appealed to, and you can say it, and most legitimately, and he understands it when you say to him, well, the emperor told me to bow down, and I didn't want to do it, but the consequences would have been horrendous. So I did bow down, but in my heart I love you. It's just that I was in a constrained situation where someone else was imposing a great unkindness on me. I was not free to not bow down, but I was free to give you my heart, and I had. But my actions were constrained by, well, a very immoral state from your point of view, Lord. And God knows in your heart you love him, and that's what counts. You know, not that you'll try to do things that you don't have the power to pull off. You know, no, I'm not going to bow down to you, and so he executed me. Do I want my children executed because they're in a fix like this? No way. Do I hold them responsible for it? No way. If anything, I would hold the individual that forced them to do it responsible. But they may not be. They may be in a situation of fear and not knowing me and acting as children. So there is grace. I don't just wipe them from the board and destroy them, for I am a loving God, and I purpose that all life come to fullness. He's a wonderful God, you see. He's not this inferior entity we call the state. He's a person, and we understand as children him to be a perfect person, utterly consistent, if you like, but utterly forgiving, graceful, loving, kind, creative, comes to our rescue, full of honour in that sense, and loyalty and goodness. The state doesn't have these qualities. You may want it to have, but you haven't found a way of forcing the state to be such. It's simply what it is. And that can be frightening. It may require you to go to war for something you don't value and don't believe in, and to kill people and to do all sorts of terrible things, like run a concentration camp, or you don't just get demoted, you become one of the victims. In other words, the world can be horrific, anything but godly and heavenly. But God, wow. And we praise him according to our values. And we find our values are wrong, because the consequence of living according to these values, if we do devote ourselves to our own values, we quickly find out the consequences of such. And our values change accordingly. You see, the purpose of this world is not to have a perfect government or a perfect world system. The purpose of this world is that you may be in a situation where, as children, you can learn the difference between good and evil. And to do that, you need to hear about it, see it, and if necessary, experience it. Until your values change accordingly to the values that you need to have to be heaven-bound. Heaven, and the word bound is slightly negative, part of the heavenly family of God. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.